Hi children, today we will begin poem second of your course, that is an elementary school classroom in a slum. An elementary school classroom in a slum is written by Stephen Sander, who is the well-known English poet, novelist and essayist. He concentrated on the theme of social injustice and class struggle in his works. He was appointed the poet laureate consultant to the US Library of Congress in 1965. Now let's move to the theme of this poem. This poem concentrates upon the plight of the poor children living in the slums. Here he talks about social injustice and inequalities going on with them. He wants the life of the children to be changed. He wants their poverty should be ended. He wishes to create the healthier, hygienic and beautiful environment for all the children, even of the weaker section of the society. Before I start, I want to ask you a simple question. Have you ever visited any elementary school in your life? I feel all of you are well aware about the condition of such schools. Elementary schools are the basic schools which are providing free education to the poor and deprived children, and normally they are run by the government. Let's start now the poem first stanza. Far, far from gusty waves, these children faces like rootless weeds, the hair torn round, the pallor, the tall girl with her weight down, the paper seeming boy with rat's eyes, the stunted unlucky hair of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease, his lesson from his desk. At back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young, his eyes live in a dream of school's game in tree room other than this. Here, the poet Stephen Sander once got the chance to visit an elementary school classroom in a slum. When he looked at the faces of the children there, he observed their faces looked quite dry, thin, weak due to their legacy of the poverty. And their world is far away from the open and healthy environment and the beautiful sights of the nature too. So he says, far, far from the gusty waves, these children faces gusty waves stands for the strong waves of the development of the modern life. He says the faces of these poor deprived children look quite different from the development of the modern world. Like rootless weeds, weeds stands for the unwanted natural plants. Just like these plants are unwanted and there is no human hand for their growth. In the same way, these poor children, they are unwanted and they are neglected even by their parents. That's why the hair torn round their pallor stands for the face expression. He said their dull looking face have been covered by the scattering of the hair over their faces. That means he said that their parents they least bothered about the looks and the nourishment of these children. The tall girl with her weighed down head. Now the poet start detailing about the children of this slum classroom. He starts with a tall girl who is the part of this classroom. But she is so much overloaded and overburdened with the problems and difficulties and struggles of her life that she is unable to sit straight in the class as she is very tired due to the problems of her. The paper seeming boy with rat's eyes. The poet next mentions another boy of the class whose weight is just like a piece of paper, but he compares his eyes with the rat's eyes, just like the rat's eyes all the time gleams with hunger. That's why he also represents that he is in the search of something, some food or better life, but he seems to be very scared, just like a rat. The stunted unlucky hair of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease. Stunted means underdeveloped. The poet here explains about another boy of the class who has got the physical deformity of the twisted bones. Unlucky here, it means it is his bad luck that he has become the part of a poor family. Here means successor. The poet says, unlike the children of the rich families who got and inherit wealth and property from their parents, these children they inherit the genetic diseases from their parents, and this carried on from one generation to another. Reciting a father's gnarled disease. Gnarled disease is a disease in which the person affected he got the physical deformities of the noted bones. So, in this way, these children become the carrier of their father diseases and poverty. His lesson from his desk, though he is struggling with the circumstances and inherited diseases, he is attending the lesson from his desk in his slum classroom. At back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young. Now the poet tells here about one more boy of the class who is sitting at the backside in this dull slum class. He says this boy looks unnoted. Unnoted means inattentive. He is not attentive to his lesson in the class, but he is looking very sweet and young. That means this boy is full of life and hope. His eyes live in a dream. He says he is not depressed like the other poor and undernourished children of this class. He is lost in his dream. His eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game in tree room. Other than this, the poet says this boy is lost in his dreamland. That's why his eyes are fantasizing that he is sitting in the tree room. That means he thinks he is sitting in the lap of nature and enjoying the games with the birds, animals and squirrels over there. That means the gloom and sad atmosphere of the slum area has not yet affected the mind of this small child. There is a ray of hope. That's why he is dreaming of nature, life, and energy here. Riding all cities, belled, flowery, Tarlas Valley, open handed map, awarding the world its world. And yet, for these children, these windows, not this map, their world, were all their futures painted with the fog. A narrow street sealed in with the lead sky, far, far from rivers, capes, and stars of the world. Stanza 3. Surely Shakespeare is wicked, the map a bad example, with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal, for lives that slyly turn in their cramped holes, from fog to endless night. On the slag heap, these children wear skins, peeped through by bones and spectacles of steel, with mended glass like bottle bits on stones. All of their time and space are foggy slum, so blot their map with slums as big as two. Now here the poet is commenting about the miseries of these poor deprived children. He said the world famous writer, dramatist and the poet to be the most wicked man of the world, though The rich people in the charity they've given the portrait of these affluent now the people. But we know that the Shakespeare, whatever literary work he has written, in that he has only portrayed the lives of the rich and the noble people. So after reading them, they would have got a wrong lesson. Means, surely Shakespeare is wicked, the map a bad example. That means, surely for them, William Shakespeare to be the most cruel man in their lives. Why? Because whatever life is representing in his work, it only tempt them to to destroy or steal them. Why? Because their parents can never avail them the opportunities to live such rich and affluent life. So, Shakespeare is the most cruel man for these poor children. The map, a bad example. Again, the map which is depicting the life full of beauties and riches. And again, it will set the wrong example for them. The reason is same. But ships and sun and love tempting them to steal. The poet says that all these beautiful ships, the sun, the natural phenomena, and love, this good feeling, these are again tempting them to steal. Why they would tempt them? Because the parents can never afford them to avail these luxuries and opportunities of the life. That's why if it is not in their reach, they would try to steal. For lives that slyly turned in their cramped holes. Why? Because the lives which they are living, it is a very secret and hidden life which only turn in their cramped holes. Cramped stand for the broken holes, that is the hearts and the slum areas. So the broken hearts in which they are residing. So that's why they very well aware about their poor living, their poor living standard, and about their life that is very secretive. So that's why they are well acquainted that their life is not to enjoy such now things ever in ever in the life. This means they are well aware about the perpetual state of gloom, hunger, and despair of their present condition. From fog to endless night. That means that their life begins with the fog. Fog again stands for the uncertainty to endless night. That means there is no end of the miseries of these poor children. They are born and they will die with the same condition. There would be never any change in their plight. On the slag heap, these children wear skins peeped through by the bones and spectacles of steel. So here the slag heap, it stands for again garbage. Slag actually stand for the waste material of the metal, and everyone of you know that these slum areas, these are made over the garbage of the waste materials. So on the slag heap, these children wear skins peeped through by bones and spectacles of steel. So in this way, these children very well know about their life, and they have to reside only on the some area and on the garbage heaps, and they were bound to wear the skins. These children, they wear skins. It means, the poet said, their physical condition is so weak and feeble. It seems that they are not wearing that they are. It means that these children are very skinny and thin, that even their bones are peeping out of their skin. Their state of poverty is intensified by this fact. And spectacles of steel with the mended glass, and along with the poor physique, these children, they have to wear the spectacles, again due to the malnourishment and the poor upbringing. Their eyesight is get affected, and that's why they have to wear the specs due to the poor eyesight. And the condition of their their spectacles, it is again unimaginable. Spectacles of steel with the mended glass. So they are wearing the glasses, but the condition of the glasses, it is again very poor. And they are set on the glass just like the bottle bits are set on the fences of your houses. Listen once again. Spectacles of steel with the mended glass like bottle bits on the stones. The poet says that though they are wearing the specs, the heavy specs which are made of the heavy steel metal, but again the condition of the glasses, they are very poor. They are so much broken and repaired, they are unable to visualize thoroughly from them. And the glasses are set just like bottle bits on the stones. These are just like to protect your houses. You people set for the fences the bottle bits over there. In the similar way, the glasses are set on the specs of these poor children. All of their time and space are the foggy slum. The poet says here that all the time, that means all the lifetime, and the space, again forever they have to live in the same surroundings. So the poet wants to explain here that all the time, all their lifetime, and the space of their living, it would be same. That is the foggy slum, the uncertain slum. So their future and their living condition, it is all the time going to remain same. There won't be any change like you people. So blot their map with the slums as big as doom. Now here the poet has become very aggressive to see this now, the pathetic condition of the poor children. He said, as you all are unaware to see the condition, the living condition of these poor children, why you people are not worried? He said, if you are damn caring about their living condition and existence, so better what you should do, you should blot the maps where the slum areas have been marked. So blot the maps. Blot means to mark with the black color, just like you should paint. So blot the maps with slums as big as doom. Doom stand for the dead bodies. He said, if you don't want to see and you don't want to now take pity on the miserable condition of these now the children, better what you should do, you should blemish the area of your map where the slum area have been erected, and you have to consider them
like to be the dead beings. Just like about the dead people, we never think, we never bothered about the gone people from the life. He said, you are behaving them with them like this. If you want to better keep this feeling, so what you should do? Better you should blemish the map, your maps part, where these now the location of these slum areas have been erected with a dark black color so that nobody could get their, we can say, the impression in the life that they are the part of your living world. Now let's conclude the poem. I am going to read the last stanza. Unless governor, inspector, visitor, this map becomes a window, and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs. Break, oh break, till they break the town, and show the children to green fields, and make their world run azure on gold sands, and let their tongues run naked into the books, the white and green leaves open. History theirs, whose language is the sun. Here, in these concluding lines, the poet is appealing to the government officials like governor, inspectors, and the visitors to do something for the improvement of the condition of these slum children. He said that if there is political, this map showing the beautiful world outside can become the reality for these deprived children. The poet hopes that the authorities should realize their moral responsibilities and free them from their graves like entrapments. Children, there is only progress if the government of the state and the inspector of the state is providing the good security to their citizens, and there is the good income from the tourism in the state. So these three people are responsible for the development of any part of the nation. So that's why the poet insists to these people to be aware about their charge and make the visit to these slum areas. He said, this map becomes a window. He said, you should make the visit to the slum areas and the slum schools, and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs. He said, you people have pulled down your sight towards the lives of these living people like catacombs. Catacombs, these are the underground graveyards usually made in the Rome country. He said, we people are behaving like the insane. We are becoming very senseless people, and we are ignoring the existence of these living beings on the world and never thinking about the welfare of them. So he said, break, oh break, open till they break the town. So he recommends that you people should now break your ideology. You should, that means that you should now change your thinking and look towards the lives of these people till they break the town. He said, as these people, they are so poor and deprived They cannot afford to buy and enjoy the bounties of nature and the richness of life, and which you are you are displaying in the beautiful paintings, in the beauties of nature, in the beautiful writings. Says that if you would not make them the part of your progress, they are surely going to come forward to deprive you from all the colorful projections you people have erected around this world. That's why the poet says that timely we should awake and show the children to green fields. He says that we should make the children of these poor people to be the part of our living world, and they should be given the right to enjoy and experience the wholesome bounties of the nature and make their world run azure on the gold sands. Azure word here stands for the blue sky. Here the poet recommends that we should give the freedom to these poor children to run freely on the beautiful, the golden sands and the beaches, and let their tongues run naked into the books, the white and green leaves open. He said, let the children of these slum schools to read the books and breathe under the fresh sky and the air. Let them explore themselves and to be creative in this world. Here, the white and green leaves stand for the white and green pages of the books. This means that we should let them run freely on the golden sands under the clear sky. That means to make progress. Along with, they should be allowed to have the quality education. The poet feels that education can help them immensely because history is theirs, whose language is the sun. According to the poet, the history only records the names of the people who do something extraordinary in the life, and we people only with the help of the education, with the enlightenment of learning, can make the real progress and record our names in the books of the history. Similarly, the poet wants that we should not give any charity to these slum deprived children. The only thing we can do is to provide the good and the quality education for their upliftment. That is the biggest solution for the eradication of the poverty from the world. Now, after understanding this poem, we are going to know the literary devices used in this poem. Starting with simile. Simile is a comparison between two things with the similar qualities. So, see the first stanza, this phrase like rootless weeds. So, this is a comment about the upbringing of the poor children, how they are neglected like the weeds, which are the unwanted plants. Then see the third stanza, like bottle bits on stone. So here, this is a comment again about the condition of the broken glasses over the spectacles of these deprived children. So these are set just like the broken glasses are set to fence the houses. So it shows again the poverty of these poor children. See the last line of the third stanza, the phrases like catacombs. So this shows us about the ignored existence of the poor children like the dead people. People. Now after device used here is metaphor. So metaphor is a literary device in which we make implicit, that means hidden comparison between two different things. So see the very first phrase, that is gusty waves. So here the progress of the world is compared with the dull faces of these slum children. So this is quite, irrelevant comparison. Then paper saving boy. Here the thin boy is compared with the piece of paper. So that also seems very absurd comparison. Then rat size. So here the eyes of the boy is compared with the rat. Otherwise, this show the hunger and poverty of this child. So this is quite unequal, we can say, comparison between two things. Next metaphor is future painted with fog, that show the uncertain life and future of these children. Further is lead sky, that shows the hidden existence of the slum surrounding. Next, stars of words, that show the losing of opportunities by these slum children. Next is stars of words, so that again shows the lost chance of enjoying the natural beauty by these slum children. Next is the white and green leaves, which stand for the books and green world of nature. Next is the white and green leaves, which stand for the books and green world of nature. Next is language of the sun. So this is again the metaphor. So here the poet insists through this metaphors that how we have to stand for providing wisdom and energy to these children, and in this way we should make them resourceful and wise for making their livelihood and thus remove their poverty. Next literary device used here is repetition. That means repetition of the same sound or the words. So see the line, far, far from gusty waves, and the last line of the second stanza, far, far from stars of words. So here far word is repeated to make stress on the distance and the things which are not beyond the reach of these poor deprived children. Next, last stanza. So see the line, break, oh break. So here break word is repeated to comment about the orthodox thinking of the living world. So here the poet is insisting to change this thing from fog. Next device is alliteration, that means a repetition of the same sound. See the very first line, this word far, far from gusty waves. So first sound is repeated. Again second stanza's very last line, far, far from stars of words. So first sound is repeated. Then third stanza, very first line, surely Shakespeare is wicked. Sure sound is repeated. Then fourth line, that is from fog to endless night. So again first sound is repeated. Next is in the fifth line, like bottle bits on the stones. So here b sound is repeated. So this is a use of alliteration in this poem. Next literary device used here is personification. Personification is a device which is used to put life into non-living objects. So here see the very first line's word, gusty waves. So that shows that how these poor deprived children, they are removed from the privilege of lively and energetic life. Then civilized doom. So again you can imagine how the doom can be civilized. So this is the use of the personification here. Next device used is pun. Pun is a device which is used by the poets to produce the humorous effects
and it also suggests two or more meanings in the sentence. So see the use of one here, the word sour cream in the second stanza. Of the classrooms, it shows the dismal place where the dreams of these deprived children, these are shattered. Let's next use of pun is in the second stanzas, the phrase lead sky. So children, you can imagine how the sky could be made of lead. So this is use of pun. So further use of the literary device in the poem is of the use of symbol. Symbol is a device which denotes several layers of the meanings, and more often the original meaning can be hidden at the first sight. So it needs deep understanding. See first stanza's very last line, squirrel's game. So in this word, so the poet has used a symbol by showing that how the boy is inattentive in this dull slum classroom and he's lost in the enjoyment in the nature. Next symbol used in the poem is in the phrase of second stanza, civilized doom. That means cities which show the marvelous architecture and progress of the modern life. And the next, again the same stanza, open-handed map. That means the map drawn by the people in power in this world. Next, again in the same stanza, second one, the word is fog. Fog here symbolize the bleak and cheerless life and future of the slum children. Next, the use of symbol in this poem is in the very last line of the poem. The line is language of the sun. So never there could be the language of any sun. The last literary device used in the poem, that is anaphora. Anaphora is again the use of the repeated words into the consecutive lines. So see the use of it in the last stanza, run chore or run naked. So here is the repetition of the word run here. I hope children you have understood the poem now thoroughly and its literary devices. Thank you for watching the video.
I hope you have understood. Thank you. God bless you.